The conversation dives into the daunting task of cleaning the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. This immense environmental challenge requires innovative strategies and global responsibility.
So has anything been used? Like, is there a proof of concept?
Well, we've done a lot of subsystem testing. The prototypes in the North Sea, for example, were these 12-meter sections, and we kept them intact. But ultimately, the real proof lies in full-scale testing this year in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch.
The focus shifts to the geography of the patch, emphasizing its massive size, much larger than other concentration areas around the world.
This is the big one, right? Between California and Hawaii?
Yes, it's the largest, due largely to inadequate waste management in Asia. This region is the primary source of plastic flowing into the ocean.
Attention is drawn to the persistence of plastic pollution compared to other pollutants, and the dual approach needed to tackle it.
To really solve it, you need two actions: close the tap and clean it up. Unlike other pollutions, if you stop additional plastic, the problem still persists for centuries.
Jamie just pulled up a size comparison. 1.6 million square kilometers, twice the size of Texas.
Exactly. The area is often compared to Texas or Mongolia. It's massive. The size doesn't change much, but the concentration does.
The discussion highlights the evolution of awareness about ocean plastic, tracing back to early realizations in the 1970s.
There have been small sampling efforts since the 70s. That was the first time plastic was identified as floating in the ocean.
It wasn't until the late 90s or 2000s that I remember hearing about it on a large scale.
The conversation emphasizes the crucial need for global collaboration and innovative solutions to combat this environmental crisis effectively. The conversation shifts to the enormous challenge presented by the tragedy of the commons, where ocean plastic pollution remains a crucial, yet often ignored dilemma. This issue is universally acknowledged, but lacks ownership due to the complexities of international responsibility.
Yeah, I think it's sort of this tragic tragedy of the commons, right? Where it's international water, it's sort of everyone's problem, but at the same time, legally, it's no one's problem. So that's why I thought, well, perhaps this is an opportunity to combine my interests of solving this problem and also developing technology.
While many organizations focus on prevention, the guest venture stands alone in its commitment to technological cleanup. By harnessing innovative methods, they transform waste into valuable products.
To act. One person do something about something that, I'm aware of. Many people are aware of, but you, this one person, decided to do something about it.
Yeah. I sometimes wonder, sometimes people ask me, like, why do you do it? And my answer would be like, why not? Like, why isn't everyone doing this?
The guest shares an inspiring initiative, turning extracted ocean plastic into high-demand items like sunglasses, elevating the perceived value by highlighting the story behind the material.
Actually, I have a few examples with me in my bag, but it's not here right now. So what we do is we take the plastic out and we recycle that. We've developed a process for this. The pair of sunglasses that I've finally been able to wear, we already made that out of plastic that we took out of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch.
So you're wearing sunglasses that are recycled from the ocean?
Exactly. The idea is that we can do anything with this, right? The material itself isn't valuable enough, but it's really the story behind it. So the fact that you can say, well, it's made out of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, which we think will add value.
By creating new stories and products from ocean plastics, the initiative not only addresses a critical environmental issue, but also revolutionizes how these materials are perceived and utilized. This transformation signifies a broader hope for ownership and innovation in tackling global challenges. Boyan's initiative is a pioneering effort to tackle the massive problem of ocean plastic pollution. The project focuses on creating an effective recycling process for the degraded plastics from the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, demonstrating both immediate action and long-term strategies for environmental restoration.
The composition of the plastic we pull out of the ocean is unique, degraded by decades of UV light. We've developed a new recycling process for it.
Boyan's team is preparing to deploy the first cleanup system, assembled in San Francisco Bay. The system, 2,000 feet long, will first undergo testing 300 miles off the coast before working on the garbage patch.
We have plans with a fleet of 60 systems to clean up half of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch every 5 years.
That's excellent. Making things from ocean plastic, amazing. I guarantee people would be very interested in such products.
The initiative is not just about cleanup, it's about transforming ocean plastics into valuable products. Legal concerns over ownership aren't an issue due to salvage laws.
It would be hilarious if someone claimed ownership over the plastic, but salvage laws let us keep what's collected.
Funding comes mainly from individual donations and high-profile philanthropists, with an expectation of corporate involvement in the future.
We've been generously supported with funds from people like Mark Benioff. Companies can fund their own system, estimated at around $5 million each.
If someone wanted to donate, how would they do so?
Just head to theoceancleanup.com and get in touch with us.
The process involves washing, sorting, and remelting the plastics, which will eventually lead to a product line made from genuine ocean plastics, turning a detrimental effect into a sustainable venture.
We wash, sort, scrub, and compound the plastic, remelting it into clean fragments ready for new use.
The peril of plastic pollution in our oceans is a critical environmental issue, especially with abandoned fishing nets.
There are laws for this, but it's very hard to monitor in the middle of the ocean.
He proposes a system leveraging GPS technology and financial incentives to ensure nets are returned to shore rather than discarded at sea.
Market-based solutions with financial incentives and penalties might work.
It's wasteful to just cut it loose and think it's gone. It's in the ocean, causing harm.
The conversation delves into the reality of plastic concentrations vastly outnumbering natural marine food sources within the Great Pacific Garbage Patch.
There is 180 times more plastic than natural food for birds and turtles.
These plastics harbor chemicals that penetrate the food chain, affecting communities worldwide.
Communities relying on fish show higher cancer rates and pollutant concentrations.
We should worry about chemicals in plastic and those floating in the ocean.
While cleanup may slightly reduce oceanic chemicals, addressing plastic pollution requires robust, collective efforts.
I can't say exactly how much we pull out, but every effort.
The conversation unfolds around the pressing issue of recycling effectiveness in the US, where the infrastructure doesn't measure up to countries like Germany or Switzerland. Boyan highlights how most waste ends up in landfills and previously was exported to China.
So in this country, there's a tremendous amount of recycling. But how effective is that recycling?
Yeah, I think the amount of recycling is actually pretty low in the US compared to other countries.
Boyan points out that places like Germany invest more money creating an effective system. In contrast, the US lacks demand for recycled plastic due to the affordability of virgin alternatives.
The problem is really the lack of demand for recycled plastic because virgin plastic is so cheap. Companies prefer not to take risks with their materials.
Yeah, and I think maybe that could be another nice side effect of what we do because we can kind of make this sort of recycled plastic a bit more sexy.
Yeah, I think if you want to promote recycling, promote the use of recycled material because as long as there's a demand, more recycling would happen.
As the discussion progresses, Boyan recognizes his journey from uncertainty to catalyzing pivotal changes. His lessons reinforce the need for trial and error in driving innovation.
It's usually when they're already sort of doing those things. When I look back at myself 4 or 5 years ago, I really didn't have a clue what I was doing.
Well, my point being is that someone like you can be a catalyst for so many other projects getting launched.
Exploring the intersection of environmental challenges and cutting-edge technology, Boyan emphasizes the necessity of staying committed to a singular mission while contemplating future innovations.
I try and actively force these ideas out of my head just because once you have an idea, it sort of starts to grow. It's critical for the ocean cleanup to have unwavering focus on eliminating plastic.
Boyan's strategic approach involves recording potential ideas to prevent them from distracting his current mission. This strategy ensures a methodical forward thinking while remaining anchored to immediate goals.
I write them down in my notebook and keep it next to my bed. They're all technology-based, things that aren't possible now but could be in the future.
The dialogue shifts to the discussion of artificial fish meat, highlighting an emerging evolution from hunting to farming and potentially to lab-grown solutions.
With technologies like artificial meat, why not artificial fish meat? It's a natural evolution that could reduce resource wastage and avoid killing.
Yet Boyan acknowledges the uncertainties tied to these innovations, echoing the importance of cautious optimism.
We need to look carefully, but I think at least on paper it shows a lot of potential of doing more with less.
This careful consideration embodies a broader responsibility in evolving practices and assessing long-term impacts, aiming for sustainable, positive outcomes. The conversation shifts towards transforming ocean waste into valuable consumer products. Boyan, an expert in this domain, explains the intricate journey of converting collected ocean plastics into materials that can be used globally.
We make it into what you call pellets. These are bead-sized particles, which can be fed into any machine in the world. So an IKEA machine for furniture or a Tesla machine for cars.
This innovative process isn't without its challenges. The cost is higher because the plastic must be sourced from far offshore. However, the potential to add value through consumer products, like sunglasses, is significant.
It's still more expensive than normal plastic. But going further in the value chain, like with sunglasses, makes sense. What's $1 on a $120 a pair of sunglasses?
Boyan highlights another fascinating aspect: bioplastics. He delves into the complexity and misconceptions surrounding bio-based and biodegradable materials.
It's shocking to learn that hemp plastic is biodegradable. The bioplastics world is complicated and controversial. Bio-based doesn't mean biodegradable.
Despite the allure, Boyan points out the current limitations of bioplastics, mainly in performance and application.
Is the actual physical plastic different to the touch?
It usually makes more noise and is more crumbly.
So it's brittle or something? Oh, that makes sense. Biodegradable water bottles would probably leak everywhere.
Right, that's not possible yet. Compostable plastics need industrial composters to degrade, not the ocean.
Boyan's insights challenge the simplicity of recycling narratives, urging a deeper reflection on consumer habits and the environment. The dialogue illuminates the pathway towards sustainable innovation, emphasizing both potential and current hurdles. The conversation today moves quickly into the fascinating world of autonomous vehicles and the rapid pace of technology adoption. Boyan shares his experience with Tesla's autopilot, shedding light on how effortlessly we adapt to new driving norms.
It's funny how quickly you get used to technology. I was driving a Tesla on autopilot for 5 minutes and was already doing emails. Taking it off feels like going back to the Stone Age.
Boyan highlights the immediate comfort of using these autonomous features and the stark contrast when reverting to manual driving. The transition is seamless, but it raises questions about dependency and safety.
But you're supposed to look at the road, right? Not your laptop. I saw a guy dead asleep in San Francisco traffic, and his Tesla was fine.
Yeah, they've added features to ensure you touch the wheel periodically. These cars are much safer than something like a 90s Toyota.
The host injects humor and concern, reflecting on stories of over-reliance on autopilot. Both acknowledge the technology's enhanced safety, yet worry about drivers becoming too trusting of these systems.
I'm impressed but concerned. Last week, a friend told me about efforts to save human driving. They're worried about bans on manual driving.
It's a real concern. To convert the entire fleet to electric could take 20 years. Autonomy is crucial. We'd need fewer cars if all were self-driving.
The discussion pivots to the broader societal implications of this shift, the potential of banning manual driving for safety and efficiency, and how autonomous vehicles play a critical role in this transformation. The need for reflection on technological dependencies and regulatory updates becomes evident as the future of driving hangs in balance. Boyan Slat's journey into ocean cleanup began as a teenager, moved by plastic pollution overtaking marine life during a dive. This led to his question, why can't this be cleaned up? His passion for innovation set him on a groundbreaking path.
Hello, Boyan. I've seen your TED Talk and discussions. You've tackled ocean plastic like the Pacific garbage patch. How did you get involved?
I started thinking about this when I was 16. At 18, I founded the organization because I was passionate about solving real-world problems.
A pivotal moment in Greece, seeing more plastic than fish, sparked Boyan's commitment to a solution using natural currents rather than cumbersome conventional methods.
Instead of boats and nets, which would take 79,000 years, we use floating barriers in a U-shape like a massive Pac-Man. They concentrate the plastic, making it easy to remove.
Boyan's method utilizes ocean currents, channeling them into U-shaped barriers to efficiently collect debris. His first full-scale system is launching from San Francisco, showcasing ecological innovation. Boyan Slat discusses innovative recycling methods for ocean plastic, such as using enzymes and fungi, viewing them as pathways for transforming waste into bio-based materials.
I'm not against plastic because without it, modern medicine and food preservation would be difficult. Plastic is crucial.
Plastic pollution impacts marine life, with microplastics and fishing gear posing significant threats.
Microplastics look almost like grains of sand. Even those primarily stay in the top 9 feet of water.
While microplastics are concerning, Boyan remains hopeful due to their currently manageable state, but warns of potential future expansion.
On one hand, it's not too late, but there's still 99% of plastic that will become microplastics if we don't clean it up.
The impact on marine life through entanglement and ingestion is significant, with ropes and fishing nets making up a large portion of the plastic mass.
This is a terrible photo of a turtle that, it looks like it's caught in a bush. It's just this massive net that this thing is swimming around with this thing attached to its body.
The conversation explores how technology can address environmental challenges by leveraging innovation to mitigate unintended consequences of progress.
What I really hope
The ocean cleanup originates in the Netherlands, known for hydraulic and maritime expertise. The Dutch passion for innovation fuels projects tackling global environmental issues.
Sometimes people wonder, why do you think the ocean cleanup is based in Holland? For us, it makes sense. We live below sea level. We have pretty per capita the highest number of hydraulic engineers and maritime engineers in the world.
The host admires Dutch culture, acknowledging the region's innovation and intelligence.
A lot of innovation and really unique, intelligent people. I've met a lot of people from Holland, and they're fascinating.
Turning to the United States, the conversation highlights the strong support they receive due to coastal proximity and environmental values.
US is the #1 group of supporters for us. We know we messed up a lot with the ocean. Our biggest support group is from here, and everyone wants to get involved.
The ocean cleanup employs a novel strategy, reinvesting funds from a plastic business into their environmental efforts.
So you've raised all this money. Is this going to be a profitable business?
We're a non-for-profit entity, so not allowed to make profit. But eventually, this plastic business would create the funding for the cleanup, reinvesting everything.
This cyclical approach, collecting, recycling, and funding cleanups, ensures sustained mission support, merging local expertise with global enthusiasm for a positive impact. Boyan, a visionary in environmental technology, dives deep into the essence of tackling ocean pollution. He discusses how his project, the Ocean Cleanup, is more than just an initiative, it's a movement. Boyan's goal is to reduce ocean plastic by 90% by 2040, setting a new standard for environmental responsibility.
The goal is really to help ourselves out of business, right? I don't want to be the garbage man of the ocean forever. It's not the best title anyway.
He aims for a transformative impact, hoping his project's success will render it unnecessary, sparking broader innovations in ecological solutions.
You've got the fire. You've put it over here. Now let me bring an ember to this project. This can start.
The host acknowledges how vital the initial spark is to any complex technological endeavor, especially in the environmental sector. Boyan hopes this spark ignites ideas in others.
I hope people think about the ocean cleanup they can build, which isn't cleaning plastic from the ocean. They should consider other ideas.
Boyan emphasizes the importance of understanding entire problems before trying to solve them, suggesting that genuine, effective solutions come from comprehensive planning.
I think a lot of people want to get involved and make a dent, but they forget to look at the whole problem first and see what's required to actually solve it.
For a person like me, when I hear your sunglasses are made from the Pacific garbage patch, I get excited.
The host brings a lighthearted note, highlighting the appeal and innovation of products made from recycled ocean plastics.
It can be intimidating, but I think that would get us to more effective solutions. First, we must prove the technology, then scale up and raise funds.
With optimism and a strategic approach, Boyan communicates a powerful message of transcendence, inviting listeners to engage in ambitious problem-solving for a sustainable future.